Good evening. My name is Pam Green, and I have the honor of being president of the Eta Omicron chapter of Sigma Theta Tau International, our chapter here at Texas A&M University, Corpus Christi. Welcome to the induction ceremony. I'd like to take a moment to introduce our chapter leaders and honored guests that we have here this evening. Dean of the College of Nursing and Health Sciences, Dr. Julie Hupp. President-elect for our chapter, Dr. Julie Kumenko. Vice President, Professor Karen Manassa. Vice President-elect, Veronica Morales. Treasurer, Professor Teresa Urjan. Secretary is Gordon Amadon. And our undergraduate counselor is Professor Amy McClure. I would like to invite Dean Hawk to come to the podium to say a few words.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Dr. Julie Hawk, and I have the privilege of being the Dean of the College of Nursing here at Texas A&M. And I'd like to welcome you from the College of Nursing. The chapter is honored and excited to have you join us for your induction to this prestigious organization. Let us begin your induction at this time. I would like to introduce Professor Karen Manassa.
Tonight of introducing our guest speaker. Our guest speaker tonight is Dr. Jessica Peck. She is an expert pediatric clinician, experienced faculty, and fierce nursing advocate who provides innovative, visionary, and award-winning leadership to develop and lead inclusive and diverse interpersonal relationships and teams to promote quality high health care. Dr. Peck holds active credentials as a pediatric nurse practitioner, a certified nurse educator, and a clinical nurse leader. She is a chair of the Alliance for Children in Trafficking, a national campaign of the National Association of Pediatric Nurse Practitioners for Vulnerable Youth. She was recently inducted as a fellow into the American Association of Nurse Practitioners, an honor reserved for less than 1% of nurse practitioners nationally, and serves as the Texas State Representative for more than 20,000 nurse practitioners in the Lone Star State. Dr. Peck is also the president-elect of the National Association for Pediatric Nurse Practitioners. She has a special interest in educating and equipping families to promote positive physical, emotional, mental, social, and spiritual health. She regularly writes articles for parenting magazines and is a frequent guest on radio and television to promote the health of children. Please give a warm welcome to Dr. Jessica Peck.
Well, good evening. I would like to thank the Eta Omicron chapter of Sigma Theta Tau for inviting me here to speak to you tonight on this very special and important moment in your career. You just heard a lot about me in that introduction, and I always feel like wherever it's read, my mom is somewhere just like beaming, because obviously she wrote it. And in that introduction, though, you heard a lot about my academic degrees, about my titles, my achievements, but just like you, that's just kind of the tip of the iceberg of my story. Those are the things that we work for, the things that you're getting tonight, this honor that you have, the sum total of your goals and your ambitions. But tonight I want to share with you some of the things you didn't hear in that introduction. I want to tell you about some of the hard things, the times of self-doubt and the times of failure, the fears that I've had and what's led me to my nursing journey and leadership. I was fortunate to have been raised in a loving, close-knit, working-class family, but no woman in my family had ever gone to college. In fact, my maternal grandfather was the only person in both sides of my family tree who had ever gotten a university education. In what my children lovingly call back then, which means the era before the internet, living in the land of pagers and perms, that was me in the 80s, college seemed very inaccessible to me. My father worked in an oil refinery, and my mom was a homemaker. And I was a bright student, but I did not know that. I only knew that I wanted to learn, and the only two paths that seemed remotely available to me as a woman at that time were a teacher or a nurse. And because community college didn't offer teaching degrees, I thought, I'll be a nurse. It was challenging, to be sure. I had no financial support. If there was any government support or loan opportunity, I wouldn't even have begun to know where to find it. My kids will say all the time, why didn't you just Google it? I'm like, honey, there's this thing called before Google. Like, it didn't exist. I worked 3 jobs to pay for school, and I had an electric blue Chevy Cavalier I was really proud to drive. And I had good enough SAT scores to be accepted into nursing school, and I was driven. I was very driven. My number one goal in all of nursing school was to be absolutely 100% totally, fully committed to being invisible. I did not want anybody to see me. I would pray on my way to school, God, please don't let anyone notice me today. Please let me get through this day without killing anybody. That would be great. Please let me have a preceptor who hates students and ignores me. Please don't let me have any IV medications. Please let some other show-off take all the instructor's time. We present company excluded. But the problem was I kept doing things that would make me not invisible. So I thought maybe at first I wanted to do geriatrics because I had volunteered in a nursing home. And so the nurses knew this, and they lovingly gave me this woman who had come from a nursing home. She was about 75 pounds soaking wet, a really tiny little thing, had come from, she was really contractured, and she was sleeping when I went into her room, and I just thought, this day I am going to change her life. I am going to do her hair, I am going to read to her, I'm probably going to find her a husband, and it's just going to be amazing. But at that moment, she woke up and she looked at me, and we met eyes, we locked eyes, and she started screaming at me to take out her dentures. She's like, take them out, take them out, take out my dentures. And I thought, okay, my instructor did not tell me how to do this in lab, but I'm pretty sure I should wear gloves. So I put on gloves and bravely went to go take the woman's dentures out, and I'm sure you can guess what happened. She bit me. She bit down and would not let go. So I had to call the nurse call button and say, help, 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 she's biting me. So the nurse ran in there and she said, what are you doing? And I said, I'm just trying to take out her dentures. And she said, that woman doesn't have dentures. And that hateful woman just went, heh, heh, heh. Long story short, I ended up in pediatrics. Where the doctors were smaller and the patients were more toothless. So by that time, you can know, you nursing graduates down here, I was a marked woman. The nurses just lived to torture me. They would give me all the most difficult patients, and to be fair, I didn't help myself either. There was a time I tried to wash a spot of crusted dirt off an elderly man's arm, only to have him tell me that was his tattoo from World War II. Whoops. Or the time I encountered a man in the Bentov ER triage area who told me he had been stabbed, walking and talking calmly, so I told him to sit and the nurse would be with him. But when he turned around, there was a knife sticking out of his back. And I said, sir, you may not know. And he said, no, they told me last time my girlfriend stabbed me to leave it in. So that was a new experience for me. Or the time I encountered Dr. Red Duke in the halls of Memorial Hermann and mistakenly thought he was maintenance and asked for his assistance with a code brown. You'll have to explain these things to your family later, but not over dinner, okay? But these things obstructed my goal of invisibility. But miraculously, somehow, I went on to graduate and met my wonderful husband, who has demonstrated true love by sitting through 5 of my graduation ceremonies. So can we just take a moment now to recognize your families who will be sitting through a lot of these ceremonies, and you can take a moment, just give them a round of applause. So at this time, I felt like I was on top of the world. I had gone to college. I had accomplished my goal. But my husband encouraged me to go back for a bachelor's degree. And I thought, university? Unthinkable. Absurd. Like, Tevya from Fiddler on the Roof. But he was determined, and he said, look, I'll go get a master's degree, you get a bachelor's degree, and we'll go together. So we did. So I was working at a pediatric primary care clinic, and I loved that. I met several faculty from the University of Texas Medical Branch who said, I think that you can do more. You should go back for your master's degree. And I thought, I don't know if I can do that. So I went back to my husband and said, I don't know, what do you think? And he said, okay, fine, I'll get a second master's degree. We'll go together again. So we did. He got his second master's degree, and I got a master's degree. And then I thought, okay, now I'm really really, have done everything that I can do. When I graduated at that time, there were just about 1,000 nurse practitioners in Texas, and now I represent more than 22,000, and more than 80 of you are graduating here from this university, so congratulations to you. It's such a great time to be a nurse practitioner who contribute to providing care in more than 1.03 billion annual patient visits. Is that not just incredible? But I'm getting a little ahead of myself. So at this time, I started teaching at UTMB, and I thought, okay, I really love pediatrics. I'll have 4 kids, so I did, and thought that was it. But really, my journey was just beginning again. My husband worked at that time for Future Combat Systems, which was changed because of changes in presidential policies, and so we kind of decided, what do we want to do? And we thought we wanted to stay in Houston, and so I said, okay, I think I'm going to go get my doctoral degree. My husband said, I'm out. Like, you're on your own, right? I'm done. If you want to do this, you have to do this on your own. Now, at this time, there were not any doctor of nursing practice programs in the whole state of Texas, in the whole great state of Texas. So I had to venture out to the University of Alabama, and I thought, can I really do this? And there was Debbie in my head again going, unthinkable, absurd, you cannot do this. But I did, and I set out with a little more confidence that time. During one of my policy courses, my professor strongly encouraged me to publish one of my papers, and I thought, no, not me. But to my surprise, it was published and is still one of the top 10 cited articles for the journal. So at that time, I found my voice, talking about what nurse practitioners could do for healthcare access in Texas, and I began to use it. I was accepted into a national nurse leadership program and appointed as a health policy scholar in Washington, D.C. And I thought again, how can I do this? But when I arrived in Washington, D.C., it was very obvious I was from Texas. Ted Cruz had just been elected. No one wanted to go and visit him. So they said, oh, she's from Texas, send her. Long story short, we ended up talking about Davy Crockett. My colleagues from Connecticut and Maryland almost fell on the ground. I said, it's a Texas thing. This is how we get nursing done, because we are the nursing party, and we will advocate for nurses. So from that point on, it really just doors opened up, and I started to learn how to use my voice. And now this doesn't mean that life has been easy. It's a hard time to be a nurse, and especially to be a nurse practitioner in Texas. Opposition to our profession is very fierce. I have been trolled on social media. I have had my face replaced with a Franken nurse face, and physicians who oppose nurse practitioner practice, give my clinic 1-star reviews and do very, very hard things. And these tensions are just evident in our healthcare dialogue nationally. You only have to say the word Obamacare to turn any family gathering into a WWE match, right? Say Medicare for all in a crowded room and just watch the sparks fly, because we all have strong opinions on both sides. Open your social media newsfeed to see heated discussion, and talk to your neighbors and find those who are stressed because they can't afford health care insurance and they're not covered. Or they're paying a significant portion of their income for health insurance and they still can't afford their medications. The state of Texas is facing an unprecedented healthcare crisis. Millions of Texans, about 25% of our Texas population, lack healthcare insurance. That's more than twice the national average of uninsured persons. In fact, Texas ranks last for access to healthcare, 47th in the primary care physician supply ratio, and 46th in healthcare overall. More than 40,000 Texans die each year from preventable heart disease. 10,000 from COPD. More has happened in nursing in the last 15 years in the nation and in Texas than in the last 1,000 years before that. When I first started in nursing, physicians were the patriarchs of the system, the nurses were the matriarchs, and the patients were the subjects of our little kingdom. Who in here has heard the phrase doctor's orders? That was the mentality that we had. There was no internet, and the closest resource you had to looking up your disease was the Encyclopedia Britannica, which was not particularly helpful. But now with WebMD and Google, patients have become savvy healthcare consumers who are increasingly becoming directors of their own care, seeking partner consultants in us. They don't want us to tell them what to do. They want us to partner with them. The United States in the last 15 years has moved from 4,000 individual hospitals to 450 separate networks. Instead of patients or even clients, we're now members of a healthcare system, and the job of that system is to keep you in it. Discharge is no longer a relevant term because the system doesn't want to discharge you from the healthcare system. Reimbursement is driven by member satisfaction with their healthcare system. Healthcare systems are now purchasing medical schools and nursing schools. Look at the rise of Ready clinics in Texas. You can go and see a healthcare provider at HEB or at CVS, or you can even order it on Amazon or have a telehealth visit. Shifts in international demographics are raising issues that we are just not prepared to address. We're facing immigration crisis at the border, threats of Ebola, measles outbreaks, new and mysterious illnesses like acute flaccid myelitis, and health impacts from the violence of mass shootings at schools, one of which just happened this week. These cataclysmic shifts will cause you, as nurses down here, to be many, many things. But always remember that you are never just a nurse. You are a nurse first. You are a member of the most trusted profession ranked every year by Gallup in America. Medicine and nursing are contextually completely different frameworks, and don't surrender your unique nursing perspective to that procedure of progress. As nurses, we have an obligation to be at the epicenter of this cultural shift. We are moving from volume-driven to value-driven. And as Dr. Tim Porter O'Grady says, the future of healthcare is digitally data-driven. Our job as nurses is to coordinate, to integrate, to facilitate, to recognize and use those tools of technology that can make us fluid and flexible and focused and portable and mobile. That's what's happening with nurse practitioners. We are creating 21st century pathways to access healthcare. Nurses own this space of the linkages and the intersections and the interactions. We are the master coordinators of care. The work of the nursing discipline is to facilitate that continuum of care. We have to engage people early in the healthcare systems. It may be hard to believe that in the rankings, the global rankings from the World Healthcare Organization, the United States is 37th, between Costa Rica and Slovenia. We can do better than that. But this is the world in which you will practice. A world where it's more important at times to keep a patient satisfied than it is to keep them alive. A world where you are accused of playing cards during your shift, but in reality, you struggle to find time to take a bathroom break or get something to eat. A world where your family will struggle at times to understand the burdens that you bear. Nurses put the needs of others above our own needs to our own detriment at times, but because we take seriously the Nightingale Pledge. In spite of these dangers, we are there in the most fragile and vulnerable times in the course of human life. As nurses, we meet indignities with the utmost dignity and compassion. We keep secrets with no judgment. We honor wishes. We protect autonomy. We cheer progress, even when the end seems endless. We serve daily doses of hope in the face of utter hopelessness. We wipe the tears of strangers and we hug broken human spirits. We float as quiet but sure supports for families welcoming new life into the world. We care for people when they can't care for themselves. We help people ask the questions they're afraid to ask. We explain things that they're told but don't understand. We are calm in the face of fear. We are comfort in the midst of pain. We see things that make most people grimace and look away, but we face them straight on, head up, eyes clear. We have a brave front. And you probably don't think about us, the people that we're taking care of. We've taken a minute to cry in our car before we can get it together to drive home and take care of our own families. You don't hear our rapidly beating hearts masked by our calm voices. We watch over you carefully, worrying about the things that we don't want you to worry about yet, but we know that you trust us to tell you when it's time to worry. Nurses don't play cards. We're too busy being guardians of human life. It's a long, hard work with a very high burnout rate. It's physically and emotionally exhausting. We can't afford to be late engagers. The iceberg is right ahead, and it's a new model of 21st century care. Now, in the face of all of that darkness, let me give you some good news. You are joining the ranks of the most innovative, the most resilient, the most honorable, the most life-giving, tenacious profession that has ever existed. Nursing will always find a way to rise up and meet the challenges of tomorrow. The difficult we do immediately. It takes a little longer. You've done the difficult every day, and many of you have done things that you previously thought were impossible. Nurses are known for being busy, but successful people are never busy. They're successful. And that's what we want to do. We have to have scholarship and judgment to survive. Nurses are scholarly practitioners, educated providers of care, and this should be the normative expectation for our practice. Sigma's mission is advancing world health and celebrating nursing excellence in scholarship, leadership, and service. You are the leaders of tomorrow. Induction into Sigma is not just an honor, it's a calling, a responsibility, a charge to be the literal caretakers of the future. People will tell you no, that your dreams can't be done. Don't believe them. Be a scholar, learn impossible things, be a lifelong student, be that nurse who reads medical journals in your spare moments. Keep a running list of questions you encounter each day that you don't know the answer to, and then have the discipline to go and look them up. Learn how to implement projects of quality improvement. Develop a system of scientific inquiry to show what nursing has done in your workplace. Don't let this be the end of your educational journey. You all right here, being inducted into Sigma, you are the best of the best. You are the cream of the crop. So work towards a specialty certification in pediatrics and obstetrics and the OR and wound care and whatever you do. I expect to see each and every one of you BSN graduates back in a couple of years working in your master's degree, nursing education, nurse practitioner, nurse leader. And I expect each and every one of you nurse practitioners to come back and get your doctor of nursing practice. Yes, you. So says the denture queen turned doctor of nursing practice. Be a leader, lead impossible teams, be proud of your profession, defend it, celebrate the diversity among our ranks, champion advanced roles. Join a professional organization. Yes, it will cost you money. Invest in the future of your profession. Dedicate one day of your salary, just one day, to give back to your profession, whether that's in membership dues or to the PAC or to the foundation. And be a servant. Serve impossible tasks. Volunteer at local health fairs. Be a camp nurse. Answer your neighbors' questions about their health. Serve on the board of your professional organization where the pay is small and the work is hard. It will take extraordinary courage to impact the issues facing nursing today. It will take our collective efforts, our acquired knowledge, our applied wisdom, and our unwavering dedication to fearlessly work to positively impact health. To do what nobody else will do in a way that nobody else can do in spite of all we go through, that is to be a nurse. So says Rosie Williams. So congratulations on this honor. Today is a wonderful day, and every day may not be wonderful, but you can find something wonderful in every day. Hardships often prepare people for an extraordinary destiny. That's from C.S. Lewis, and I know that each and every one of you will have an extraordinary destiny in your nursing journey. But most of all, may your scrubs be comfy, your coffee be strong, and your holiday shifts be short, and may your journey as a nursing scholar, a nursing leader, and a nursing servant be just beginning. Thank you.
And it symbolizes these enduring values, reminding us of our commitment to wisdom and discernment as represented by the eye, service, professional endeavor, and strength of leadership as represented by the pillars of stone at the right and left, and knowledge as represented by the lamp. Our key, embedded in the membership pin, reminds us of our charge to uphold love, courage, and honor, and is a symbol of scholarship. The cup denotes the satisfaction of professional life. The circle with its 6 stars represents our 6 founders. The lamp is the lamp of knowledge, and the letters in black represent our charge. Remember that our key symbolizes your commitment to nursing and to nursing excellence. The purpose of this ceremony is not only to honor you as a new member and of course to celebrate your success, but it serves as our pledge to each of you to support you throughout your nursing career and to be a lifelong resource to you. This support will come in part through the opportunity to participate in Sigma's communities of interest, mentoring programs, and academies. You'll also have access to benefits that include things like continuing nursing education courses, the Journal of Nursing Scholarship, worldviews on evidence-based nursing, and reflections on nurse leadership. Your induction isn't the end or the culmination of your scholarly professional achievements, but in fact signifies the beginning of your membership journey, the start of your involvement. And it is here where you are becoming a part of a global network of peers and mentors who are here to guide you and support you throughout your career and wherever your career takes you. At this time, I would ask all of those who are entering into membership as outstanding new members to please stand. Please accept the privileges and responsibilities of Sigma membership by repeating after me. I accept membership in Sigma Theta Tau International. And I pledge to fulfill its commitments. To nursing excellence, knowledge, service, and leadership throughout my career. You may be seated for just a minute. Dr. Tammy McGarity is the Sigma counselor for the graduate students, and many of you have had contact with her. She's unable to be with us this evening, so I will introduce Professor Amy McClure, and she is the undergraduate counselor, and she will be announcing each of you individually. Will new members please come forward when your name is called to receive your certificate and sign your name in the Eta Omicron record of membership.
Lori Elaine Slowinski. Hannah Stone. Dimas Villarreal. Felicia Bernal. Melissa Lotard Priestmeyer. Laura Iris Trio. Ashley Marie Garza. Betty Gonzalez. Jessica Haas.
And then if you can come over this way, make sure I can see you. Or we take the photo, maybe tip you to him. And sir, if you can come down just a bit. Are you good there? Just want to make sure the ladies back there. How much room do you have in front of you? Two girls right behind this gentleman. Are you good? Do you all have enough room right there? Good? Okay, cool. Good. Anyone hiding behind you all at the end? No? Okay. So it's a little disproportional. So ladies back there, maybe come over. Flipping around. So just for a few seconds, look over here. I'm not going to take one photo. I'm going to take about 10. Just keep smiling. If you blink, don't look around wondering who else blinked. Just keep looking this way. Get a big smile. Okay?
So as you're looking at your picture, I'm tagging you in it.
Right over here. Ready? 3, 2, 1.
Apparently I'm getting tagged in the photo.
Look at Nick. Of course, she's front and center.
They just walked away.
We're live. Here's Grammy and there's Hannah. And another mom and another Grammy, and everybody's looking at the big certificate here, which is, let me get focus up here. I don't know if it's focusing or not. I think it is. We're in house. There it is. Academic excellence.
Yes.
All right.